Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Heel Team 6 Wrestling is proud to present the Bodega Wrestling Podcast. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Bodega Wrestling Podcast. It is I, your quintessential Puerto Rican muffin Jorge, and as always, I'm back to go over the recap of Tuesday night's Impact Wrestling show and tonight's earlier Fighter Fest 9 Número 2, which was amazing. 2 nights of wrestling. I mean, can't beat that. It's on TV. It's free. I mean, what else can you get for now? You know. But we'll start with our best show, number 1 show on Tuesdays, being Impact Wrestling. We'll start the show off with Rosemary and Taya going up against Susie and Kylie Ray. Another amazing match put forward by all 4 ladies, which is probably going to show further that the KO tag team titles will be back sooner than later. Maybe, who knows, maybe somebody will find it in a box coming up at Slammiversary, or hopefully the next tapings after Slammiversary we'll get some more news about the KO titles, hopefully. But usually this was an amazing match between all 4 participants. And the winners, to my surprise, were Kylie Ray and Susie. This also adds further the odd love triangle between Rosemary, Taya, and Bravo. So this should be interesting going forward to see how far this team will stay together. If they're ever going to break up, you know, if Johnny Bravo is going to choose one of the ladies or the other one. So I'm actually interested in what's going to happen with this one here. We go back to Josh and Madison Rain, who are actually beginning to wear on me in a good way, because I dislike both of these individuals, but you know, it is what it is, and I digress. We went backstage with Chris Bebe, who's still upset about Johnny Swinger being barred from ringside at his upcoming X Division title match coming up in less than 10 days. So, you know, Johnny Swinger told him to go relax, that he has a plan, and then he walked off to probably make a plan. Followed by a 4-way tag team match between the Deaners, Reno Scum, Triple XL, and the Filipino Express of TJP and Falaba. I mean, this was just a humongous cluster, number 2 baby poo-poo, as everybody was in the ring. It was just an old, good old-fashioned slobber knocker. Everybody just going back and forth. I mean, they're out of control. Nobody knows what's going on. Reno Scum and the Filipino Express decided to take things to the back, and they left the match, leaving the Deaners against leaving the Deaners against Triple XL. Right from there, the match got better. There's only just 2 tag teams. I mean, they went back and forth. I mean, it was really, really good. I enjoyed it. I was very, very surprised the Deaners got the win. I mean, very, very surprised that they actually got a clean win over Triple X. Now I kind of wonder what the hell's going to happen with Triple X, because, you know, you see them here and there like once every couple of weeks, and you know, nobody knows what's going to happen with them. After the match happened, we go to the back. We see the Filipino Express, Reno Scum are brawling all around backstage. Josh Matthews doesn't even know where the backstage is, because this place is huge. Wherever in Tennessee, in Nashville, they're doing this show from. But they had like another match in the back between the Filipino Express and Reno Scum. Now I'm going to appeal to the bookers in Impact Wrestling to book this tag team match at Slammiversary as a Full Metal Mayhem match, and let the four participants just go at it in the Full Metal Mayhem. And this will be great. I mean, there could be a nice opening match for Slammiversary. So if anybody wants to see that, go on Twitter, and tag in Sky Demore and Callis and whoever else is in charge there. Then of course we know that with the shows or production having to delete a lot of content, we knew that going in for the last 3 weeks, this being the second week, a lot of stuff is going to be short, so they're going to add some more stuff. So then we actually got to see a flashback of the beautiful people against Angelina Love and Tara, and this was basically the whole match of that, where the loser at that time, the beautiful people, were the tag team or had the Knockouts title, and Angelina Love had the Knockouts single women. And if any of the beautiful people pin Angelina Love, she'll lose her title. And if Angelina Love and Tara win, then they win the Knockouts title. In this case, Tara got knocked out. She got pinned by Madison Rayne, and Madison Rayne became the new Knockouts champion, on top of the beautiful people of Velvet Sky and the Venera girl, who at that time was gorgeous. I mean, I will give her a 10 out of a 10, but unfortunately, the Veneric wrestling gene missed her. I mean, just skipped it completely, because this girl was horrible in the ring. But I digress. We come back and we get to see Jordan Grace against Kimberly. Now, this was a really, really good match. And even though you knew Grace was going to win because of the whole total build up with her and Diana Perosa coming up at Slammiversary, you knew Kimberly was going to lose. I just hoped that maybe Perosa would have came in towards the end and get a DQ, though Kimberly wouldn't get the loss. But it is what it is. But this was an excellent match. I mean, Kimberly showed why she is who she is. I mean, hopefully going forward, she'll have a better storyline, and maybe in the future, if they do bring the Knockouts title, tag team titles, she'll be able to get a tag team partner and go that way, or singles gets pushed better going forward. But it was a good match. And it just sucked that Kimberly took the loss. Afterwards, Perosa showed up on the Titantron, told her, "Oh, I'll see you at Slammiversary, blah 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 blah," and that's how that went. Next up, more filler, but this was a good fill because this was a nice vignette between the R&B sensation Trey Miguel, Eddie Edwards, and Ace Austin, and this is what sets Impact production apart, is that they know how to really put a nice package when they want to. This is what they should have done from last week, this week, and next week with the 10 women KO battle. They should have done that, like showing each person, 3 of the females each week, showing their strengths, showing what it's gonna take for them to win the battle royal, to become winners, to then go on to get a title shot in the future. That should have happened with them, but instead it didn't, and they just got put into a 10-woman battle royal, and whoever wins gets the title shot. But with this one here, with the 3 guys, I mean, this was really, really good. They show what everybody could bring to the table and why they deserve to be the champions. So this was really good. Later on, we see that Willie Mack comes across Johnny Swinger, who is dressed as Suicide, because earlier in the day, when he was looking for a plan, he was going through people's bags and he saw our own good Eric Young's suit when he used to be a superhero, and he said that he'll wear that one tonight on Friday night at the hotel. And then he found Suicide's get up, and he put it on. Then Willie Mack saw him and gave Suicide a title shot because of how he always, has his back. So this was, something for later on, another filler. Now we have another filler, which is Madison Ring, and she's supposed to interview the most iconic knockout in Impact history. Which once I heard about this was going to happen, I knew it was going to be herself. So she basically interviewed herself, going back and forth, sitting in each other's asking questions and sitting as she was the guest answering the questions. And then a couple of minutes went in, and the tag team of Pretty Thug came in, which is as we know, Akira Hogan and Isha Steels is who I like to call Pretty Thug. Came in and started, dissing her, and then the Warriors came in, the Lady Warriors of Nevaeh and Jessica Havoc came in, and then a whole brawl just broke out back there, which was fun. And then you see Madison Rain just like not even once getting touched by anything, just kind of sitting there and then go on the floor and just just goofy stuff, I guess, just to fill things up. And then we see Hernandez doing more arm wrestling, beat up a Heath Slater look-alike, and then Rhino came in. They're locked up, and then boop, they went into a break. Nobody knows what happened. Later on, then we come back to the ring. We see Willie Mack go up against Suicide, or in this case, Mr. Swinger or Swinger Side. Swinger Side did a bunch of moves that could have looked like he wanted to be Suicide. They just were not Suicide approved, so he just looked bad. So yeah, and Willie Mack picked up the win. Yeah, it was just a silly matches, take more time, I guess. Then we see an interview by Tommy Dreamer, and his lawyer Tricky Dicky Heyman wrote it, where he apologizes to Moose for a bunch of other stuff, blah 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 blah. Moose comes in, he doesn't like the apology. They go back and forth where Dreamers is saying, well, I'm gonna go in and now I'm the #1 TNA contender for the TNA title, which doesn't exist. The TNA committee approved it, which doesn't exist. To go after a TNA defunct title, which doesn't exist. And Moose agreed with him because he said that, he wants a title shot to a committee that doesn't exist. And Dreamer says, you're right. This isn't one, just like there isn't a TNA. So, right there, Dreamer is throwing a shot at Moose. As we know now, we know that Dreamer is going to have a title shot, a TNA title shot at Slammiversary. Lord, why? Why is Dreamer again in another situation? But hopefully, this is where something happens, a big swerve where either Moose beats him and then he brings some guys, or Tommy Dreamer does the swerve on Moose and he's the one that's bringing out all TNA guys and then goes on to start a new TNA faction or something like that. Who knows? I just want Tommy Dreamer, whatever happens, I just want Tommy Dreamer to get his ass whooped and lose and just, go into the sunset. Because if Tommy Dreamer wins this match and nothing happens, oh boy, I'm going to be highly upset. I'm literally going to take my pillow and knock myself out. Then the main event came, which was Sami Callihan against one half of the tag team champion, the walking weapon, Mr. Josh Alexander. Another good match. Good match, get back and forth. Later on, we see Ethan Page come out. Then we see the oldest wrestler on the roster there, Mr. 55-year-old Ken Shamrock, came out. They did a bunch of nonsense, then, blah, 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 blah. Callihan covers, and it kicks out. Callihan nailed him with a power driver, gets the win. Shamrock offers to handshake Sammy's hand. Sammy walks off. And then we get a Slammiversary commercial. This time, right here, this one got my attention here. This one was announcing that not only was the former world champion returning, but he won't be alone. So that one there got my attention 3 times there. And then they poured 3 shots, and then 3 hands picked up each shot. So unless they edited the same hand in 3 different ways, we're gonna see the TNA champion who was there before come in with friends, either 2 more friends or 3 friends. Whatever it is, I'm excited. I want to see what's gonna happen. I mean, I haven't purchased any type of pay-per-view that costs over $20, but I already purchased my Slammiversary show pay-per-view. I'm excited. I'm for this show. Like, I'm ready for this show so bad. Like, I want it to come already. Like, I can't wait any longer. I can't wait till Saturday 18th comes, because this is gonna be amazing. All right, so now we move on to earlier in tonight. We have Fyter Fest Night Dust, and last week we found out that Moxley was not going to defend the title against Brian Cage at the show, so that match is off and got moved to next week's for the Fallen, another pay-per-view they're doing on TV. So what they did was they did the Private Party match against Santana Ortiz in number 1 contenders match. So whoever won was going to go into tonight's show to go against Kenny Omega and Adam Page. As we see, Private Party got the win over Santana Ortiz, which I was not happy about that, because my homies have become jobbers at AEW, and I know it's all storylines, and I know they're getting paid, but damn, dude, these guys just lose like on a regular basis as being part as the group with Jericho. So I'm kind of tired of that already. But we saw Kenny Omega and Adam Page go up against Private Party in the tag team. Now, one thing that I will say about AEW is that they definitely stepped up their game when it comes to tag team. They're lacking in some aspects, or some size, because of not many females being there, but they definitely have stepped up their game when it comes to the tag team division. This was an amazing match by all 4 participants. Private Party is a young team, but they're definitely coming up. Now they have Matt Hardy, whichever version he wants to be, in their corner. So hopefully that will be Matt Hardy's new job. There is to be a mentor to Private Party and have him away from any type of storylines with his idiotic, other 5 different people that he has inside his brain. But this was a good match with Private Party. A lot of moves, a lot of near falls, a lot of stuff going on there. But as we know, Private Party was gonna lose, and still you winners, Page and Omega, which I'm kind of getting tired of Page and Omega being tag team champions. They need to lose this tag team either next week or whenever the next set of that they have to defend it, because it's over already for them. Just make this guy, Page, turn heel. It looks like it's gonna happen, and just go on their way. After this match was over, we saw Joy Janela go up against Lance Archer with Jake the Snake Roberts. This was mostly a squash match, you could say, because Lance Archer totally destroyed Joy Janela. I mean, even though Joey got in some offense here and there, it was just bad for Joey. So Lance Archer picked up the win, which we knew that was going to happen. There was no way in hell that Janela was going to win this match, but at least it gave Archer a good opponent and keeps building him. Later on, we have a Darby Allin little thing like Yellow does about Brian Cage. So yeah, we move on to that. Taz comes into the ring with Brian Cage for a big announcement. Now he's using the same ploy that they used back in 1999 when Taz was in ECW and he had the FTW title, which fucked the world title. At that time, storyline was that Taz was never getting a title shot at then champion Shane Douglas, so he came up with this title belt and made himself a champion, defending the title every week on ECW to the point that ECW even started to acknowledge the title and it became a real title there. He even lost the title, regained it back, and then once he finally wrestled and defeated Shane Douglas and got both titles, the FTW title kind of just disappeared with no warning whatsoever as to why. But he brought the title back and then he proclaimed Brian Cage as the new FTW heavyweight champion. So I'm pretty sure now this becomes a secondary title on the show. I guess you could say that. Well, Cage will defend this, and then AEW will recognize the title to whenever they decide to. Okay, it's time enough of the title. Let's just go back to being, you know, enough of the nonsense. But it was a good promo against by Taz. Another title for the show. Get some more intrigue of what's going to happen next week if Jon Moxley is there to defend the title. If not, then they'll have a fake title, just like Moose is doing in TNA, for a championship till Moxley returns, if he comes back next week or not. The next match was my favorite match of the night. We had the Way, well, actually a tag team top match that have two teams in each side, which being FTR and the Young Bucks go up against Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers. Love this match. This match was everything that you expected it to be. A lot of flying, a lot of hard hitting, a lot of old school wrestling, a lot of holds, a lot of near falls, a lot of everything, crazy spots here and there. And Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers came out the winner, but this was an amazing match to see. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's amazing. They even had a spot where everybody's outside and they did a Canadian Destroyer from Phoenix to his brother over the top rope. I mean, if you gotta see it, go to YouTube AEW page, watch it because it was good. Then we saw Big Swole trying to come into the arena. Now supposedly she's being suspended for attacking and kidnapping Dr. Britt Baker last week. So she got mad because they could have called her, or they could have faxed her, or even paged her or something like that because she wasted gas money for a 3.5 hour drive. Now she has to leave. So that was kind of funny there. Then we had Nyla Rose go up against Kenzie Page and Kylie King, and this was just another squash match where Nyla Rose had her big announcement was that she's gonna have a new manager, just like Roberts with Lance Archer and Tully Blanchard with Spears, and Anderson with Cody. So she's gonna have a manager to lead her to the AEW Women's title. I'm hoping that it's not a guy. I'm hoping that is another female, and I'm hoping that is a legendary, somebody legendary like R. Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Jake Roberts are. And there's not that many legendary females out there. A lot of them are from the old days from WWE, but I'm hoping is Medusa Michele that comes back there and becomes her manager. Another retired professional, person that held titles everywhere she went to, and she'll be a perfect manager for Nyla Rose. Later on, we had the Dark Order of Mr. Brody, because you gotta say Mr. Brody, from Rochester, New York, where I'm from. Evil Dos, which is Stu Grayson, and Colt Boom Boom Cabana, or I like to call Evil 7 or 7. go up against SCU. This match here was a good match. This match here, I noticed something that I have never noticed, and that was Evil Does to Grayson can actually wrestle his ass off. I mean, this dude can actually wrestle. I just been always stuck with the whole Evil Uno Evil Does thing that they do with the Dark Order. But Stu Grayson can go. I mean, I was surprised at some of the maneuvers that he was doing at this match. I was really, really surprised. This guy can go. I mean, I was in shock. So I'm now a Stu Grayson fan. I mean, I'm definitely an Evil Dose fan because this dude was the main guy for the Dark Order going. They picked up the win. Colt Cabana got the pin. He looks happy. He's back on the winning side. Maybe now he'll join the Dark Order and become Evil Boom Boom Número 7. So we'll find out if that happens or not. And then your main event was freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy with the best friends, of course, because we have to give the people what they want. With Chris Jericho and Proud and Powerful in his corner. Now, two things was going to happen in this match. Either Orange Cassidy was going to become a household name after this match, or he was not, and Jericho was just going to plant him and defeat him and kill him. What happened in this match was, once again, Chris Jericho, Le Champion that he is, brought and catapulted another young person to now. Orange Cassidy is in now. He put a performance for a lifetime there in this match against Chris Jericho. Not once did I think that he was going to beat Chris Jericho, but he got brought up. And Chris Jericho once again put somebody over without losing to put somebody over. Because there's times that you could win a match and put somebody over, and there's times that you lose the match and put somebody over. Jericho won the match, barely won the match, so this definitely told the story. And he put Orange Cassidy in the forefront. So, hate him or like him, Chris Jericho did his job as a professional, as an aging wrestler, and put Orange Cassidy to the forefront. Now it depends on AEW's booking going forward on how they're going to book Orange Cassidy. But this was an amazing match. I mean, this thing was crazy. I can't wait to see what happens next. I mean, I'm really, really excited. But this is all for the 2 nights. Now I would like to hit on something that happened earlier on that I saw on Twitter, and it was super cool. Matt Riddle came out on YouTube, on Twitter, everywhere, and made a video statement about the accusations that were put upon him. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we had the Speak Up movement, where ladies of the wrestling world were coming forward to tell the story of how they're being mistreated in the wrestling world. Stories came out about Matt Riddle, receipts, proof of things that he was doing, and he finally went and talked about what happened. And the truth is that, like he said, he had an affair. He cheated on his wife. He's embarrassed for what he did. And he mentions that in no shape, way, or form he ever sexually harassed this individual. And unfortunately, and I apologize, I forgot her name. Well, I can't remember what her name is. So he said that he never did anything on that stuff, and all the stuff that she's been putting on Twitter and stuff like that with the pictures, with the receipts. He says that all that stuff is true, and all that stuff happened while he was already separated from his wife after he admitted to his wife that he had cheated on her, and he feels embarrassed of what he did, and this is the reason why it took him so long to come up and tell his side of the story. Now, I am no psychiatrist. I am no Dr. Donahue, no Dr. Phil. I don't know what happened. We will never know what happened because we were never there. All we're doing is we took a time to read all the women's tweets, all the victims who people want to say victims. I call them brave souls who came forward to tell their side of the story and tell things that I didn't even know. And I'm pretty sure a lot of wrestling fans didn't even know that this stuff was going on behind closed doors in your own wrestling promotions that you love to see. I didn't know this stuff was going on, and if I did, I never saw it. So this brave souls came out. Now, in some cases, some ladies, and I guess I have to say this carefully and tread in light water with what I'm going to say. So I have to say it right. Maybe in some cases, maybe some stuff was maybe stretched out, maybe for attention, maybe to destroy someone's career. We don't know. We weren't there, so we don't know what really happened with Riddle. But he came out and he said exactly what he had to say, and he said that that was his only statement that he was gonna make. He was already embarrassed to having to do that type of statement to tell people the truth about what he had done in his relationship. One, he messed up. I always say, if you're gonna get in a relationship with somebody, don't waste their time, man. Don't cheat on them. If things are that bad that you thinking about cheating on someone, or you have to cheat on somebody because things are bad, just say something. Have that conversation. Communication is key in everything. You communicate, you come to an agreement. You either work through things or you break it off and you separate ways and you stop wasting people's times. Once you cheat on somebody, you already crossed that line. You became the scum of the earth. You did something that should not be done, and it was about one of the vows that you took when you got married. So he already embarrassed himself, destroyed his marriage. I don't know if they're still together or not. I don't really know. I don't follow them like that, so I don't really know if they're still together. But he did something irreconcilable. You can't take something like that back. When I could tell you my story, when me and my wife got divorced, we sat down, and I remember the date. It was December 4th, 2004. We sat down in the kitchen. I took off my ring and I placed it on the table, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I wasn't happy, and after being married for 5 years and a lot of stuff, I wasn't happy where things were going. Communication was done. There was nothing. There was no give and go. It was over. I took my ring. I told her, I'm done with this. It's better for all of us to end this cleanly, in a respectful way, in an adult way, before we keep lying to each other, keep being married, and then one of us do something stupid that we can never regret later. So he did what he had to do. He came out and said what he had to say. He basically said, I cheated on my wife. All the proof that you're putting out here is true. I can't deny it, and I'm not gonna deny it. So now we sit here and we become the judges and the committee and the executioner. are we gonna believe her or are we gonna believe him after what he came out with what today? We will never know. You know, right now people will take sides. I know that when she came out and said it, majority of people were saying, you know, thank you for coming out. Other people were saying, oh, you just here to ruin the guy's career. When he came out and said what we had to say, it's nothing but positive feedback now. So it's a double standard. Either, you know, you gotta treat people the same way. And if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. This is what I do. If I read something that I don't like, I don't comment on it. Because one, it's not my business. Two, I got nothing good to say, so why am I gonna say anything? So, yeah. It is what it is. I guess that was the last thing of any wrestling news. I know next week we have the last show coming up for Impact Go Home show. We're going to have a contract signing between Diana Perosa and Jordan Grace. They're going to have a 10-woman match, 5 against 5. So that should be fun. Unfortunately, I don't remember who's going to be who, but it should be good. So I'm looking forward to this show because hopefully we get to see, you know, how it's gonna go towards Slammiversary. Oh, I remember one more match. They have Crazy Steve and Tommy Dreamer go up against Moose and a mystery partner. So this should be interesting on who the mystery partner will be for Moose. Maybe it's somebody from TNA old days that will come out. You know, just to give us a little preview of what to expect of Slammiversary. So hopefully, you know, something good happens. Also, we're going to have AEW for the Fallen next week. One of the matches that I'm interested in seeing is going to be my homie, my boy Sonny Kiss. You know me, I love me some Kiss. Up against Cody Rhodes for the TNT title. So that should be an exciting, high-flying match. Pretty much we know Cody's gonna win, but I know Sony is gonna put up one hell of a match, so I'm looking forward to this. I'll also be on the lookout. We have another show between me and the chef from the Jokers podcast of who we might think another wrestlers who might be coming to Slammiversary. So be on the lookout for that. That's gonna be next week. And also the Jokers podcast is gonna have a Slammiversary preview next Tuesday. This should be dropping up next Tuesday or Wednesday, so be on the lookout for that. As always, please follow us here at the Bodega Wrestling Podcast on Twitter, Bodega Wrestling, on YouTube, Bodega Wrestling. Make sure you like, listen, and subscribe, and hit that little ping button there so you can get your reminders to hear this beautiful, sexy, thick accent voice coming through you loud and in clear HDR audio. As always, don't forget to follow at Jokers Podcast with Heel Team 6. Also, don't forget to follow Michael Larkin. Just type in Larkin, Michael. You'll have like 18 different Twitter accounts. And also, don't forget to follow one of his Jokers podcast, which is Chev and Crooked Smiles. When they do the LFC. So L for Lingerie Fighting Championship. LFC. Once again, guys, thank you for listening, and I will see you next week.